Americans. My name is Cosmos, and this is Extraordinary America. What is Extraordinary America about? Extraordinary America is about the abolition of financial slavery. It is about the financial freedom of the 99%. Why? Well, you see, the essence of America and what it means to be American has always been freedom, opportunity for a better life, and the pursuit of happiness. However, most Americans have been under financial slavery. They have been suffering from massive amounts of wealth and income inequality. They're barely able to make ends meet and pay their bills, and they've been living from one paycheck to another while doing so, right? They've been having massive loss of jobs in the recent months due to the coronavirus pandemic, and they're going to have even more loss of jobs due to automation and further globalization. And they have been suffering from stagnant wages combined with inflation of prices, along with massive amounts of debt. And in the very near future, they're going to be suffering from economic depression, followed by hyperinflation of the US dollar due to its devaluation, due to massive money printing, all of which will lead to extreme amounts of financial slavery and financial bondage for most Americans. So you see, there is a wide difference between the ideals of what America is supposed to represent and the hypocrisy of the situation, which is that most Americans are right now under financial bondage. Therefore, Extraordinary America is about the abolition of financial slavery. It is about the financial freedom of the 99%. We do not work for money. We make money work for us. How is this to be done? In the short term, it is to be done by saving your purchasing power of your money, by investing into gold, silver, and other cryptocurrencies that are scarce and are tangible, right? And in the future, for the long term, it is to be done by number one, the transformation of the 99% into entrepreneurs and investors on the light side. Number two, the creation of decentralized spiritual economic institutions led by Jedipreneurs that provide a universal basic income, along with the 5 essentials of food, clothes, shelter, housing, and education to all the Americans, as well as help with the first point, right? And number three, the replacement of the debt-based fiat monetary system with the American Dream Standard or the Humanity Upliftment Standard, where the dollar is pegged to the American Dream cryptocurrency, which is backed by 1 year's worth of providing an American with the American dream. So now I want to get more into the third point, which is the replacement of the fiat currency with an American Dream Standard or the Humanity Upliftment Standard. What am I exactly talking about, right? So I want to explain 3 concepts before I get into this, right? The first is what is money and what is purchasing power, right? Money is basically a store of value, a unit of account for value, and a medium of exchange for value, right? That's what it is all is about. It's about a store of value. It's about a means of using it for payment for value exchange, essentially, right? And what is purchasing power? Well, you see, this $10 that I have, right? In 50 years ago, it would the same $10 would actually be able to buy more stuff at the grocery store than it does now. This is because this is a fiat currency and has been printed in massive amounts for the past 50 or how many ever years, which has led to the devaluation of the individual dollar, right? If you go to Zimbabwe or Venezuela, everybody's a millionaire and billionaire over there. It doesn't mean anything because it's not about how much money you have. It is about how much you can buy with that money that truly matters. If I go to India, right, the same Starbucks coffee that I get for $5 over here will cost 600 rupees or 500 rupees over there, right? So it doesn't matter how many hundreds of rupees I have. It's what I can buy with that amount that truly matters, right? The second point the second concept that we want to talk about is the difference between quality money and quantity money. Quality money is basically commodity money that is based on scarcity and is based on something tangible, such as gold and silver. And basically, historically, it has been gold and silver, right? And quantity money is basically money that can be printed in massive amounts, right? Which leads to the individual devaluation of each unit currency, right? This is basically called fiat currency and it's backed by nothing except government decree and our collective belief that it has value, right? And so, and the third concept that I want to talk about is pegged or fixed currency versus floating currency. Pegged or fixed currency is currency that is pegged to something else, right? Another currency or to something such as gold and silver. And floating currency is basically currency that is not backed by anything and is basically floating in the free markets, right? Its value is determined by the free markets or by the foreign market exchange or whatever. And so why is this important? Because all throughout, like if we take a look at monetary history really briefly, right, what we see is that for thousands of years we've been using gold and silver as a means for money. It is all it like all throughout the world, people have been using gold and silver. In fact, we've had the classical gold standard from 1870s to 1914, where our US dollar was backed by an ounce of gold, or basically, yeah, an ounce of gold back to the US dollar. And even like if you look at the 1944 Bretton Woods system, all the world's currencies were backed by the US dollar, and the US dollar was linked to an ounce of gold in the ratio of $35 to an ounce of gold, right? So till about 1971, we were backed by in some way or form by the gold standard, right? Where 1 ounce of gold, right? I know this is not a gold coin, but I'm just giving it as an example to like make a point, right? 1 ounce of gold would back a certain amount of US dollars, which would in turn like basically be the reserve currency for all the other currencies. After 1971, we turned to a fiat currency, and henceforth from there onwards, the value of like our money has been reducing. Our purchasing power has been reducing drastically over like so many amount of years, right? And that's what fiat money does. So what we want is neither a fiat currency, nor do we want like a gold standard, because ultimately gold is essentially materialistic, although it is practical to invest in right now in the short term, right? Because everybody collectively perceives it at value. What am I suggesting instead? Well, you see, the only reason somebody actually found an ounce of gold valuable is because everybody collectively perceived it as value. Gold as such has no inherent value except the value that we give it, right? If you take a look at it, right, what is truly valuable? If you look at all the prophets that have ever come through the earth, right, whether it's Jesus, Krishna, or Buddha, right, and they came to the earth, did they find gold and silver valuable, or did they find something else valuable, namely the upliftment of humanity, or an uplifted human being as like who is uplifted in the eyes of the Father, aka the creator of the universe, right? Even if we do not want to take into account spirituality, and we just want to take into account like a common sense point of view, right? If we instead if we should realize that it's our perception that gives value to money, right? It was our perception, collective perception, that gave value to gold and silver. It's because for thousands of years we were materialistic. That is why we gave value to it in the first place. However, had we turned our perception inwards and we realized that it was us, it was our minds, collective minds, that gave value to this thing, and if we turn inwards and we realize that it is our upliftment that actually gives the value, then we would realize that we are the value, we are the gold, and we are the silver. And right, and if we realize that we're all part of a one cosmic family with the universal father, aka the creator of the universe, we are actually our upliftment is the primary concern for our Father. And He wants us all uplifted, and therefore that should be the value, that should be the money altogether. So what am I trying to say? The practical concept of this would basically be the uplifted human standard, aka, if we're talking about it in America, the American dream standard, where the dollar will be pegged to the American dream coin. Think of a cryptocurrency, but instead of like gold or something else, or like something like Bitcoin, you basically have the American dream coin, which is created after 1 year's worth of service, or 1 year's worth of giving an American the American dream, namely the 5 essentials of food, clothes, shelter, housing, and education, combined with civil rights and the opportunity for time and financial freedom, the way it's done in a 1%er family on the light side. Like whatever like is the vision of the American dream, we give it for 1 year to an American, and at the end of that 1 year, through a verification process, basically a coin is released the same way Bitcoin is released after the miners mine for Bitcoin, right? And this is the practical application of an uplifted human standard, essentially, right? And so what is an analogy of this? If you take a look at how gold ore is converted to pure gold, if you looked for thousands of years at how gold was created from from the mining sites, right? You first had to take the gold from gold ore, and then through a purification or a refining process, you attain pure gold from it. But instead, think of like how gold is created from gold ore, right? How it is taken out from all the impurities are taken out. Instead of doing that, instead of that process, we uplift an American, or we uplift a human being, if we're talking about it on a world stage, for 1 year, right? And we give them the American dream, namely the 5 essentials, combined with civil rights and time and financial freedom. And basically, at the end of that 1 year, a coin is released that is equivalent, that would be the same equivalent, right? You do not have to be an alchemist and turn base metal into gold. What you have to do is turn your perception inwards. Instead of finding gold valuable, you look inside of yourself and realize that it is your perception, it is you that is the actual value. You are the money, and that the Father of the universe considers your upliftment as the money. He considers your upliftment as the silver. And then that is basically what should be the monetary system of the entire world, and at least for this nation, I suppose, right? And so you do not have to be an alchemist. You just have to perform a perception thing where you take your mind inwards and realize that you are the value, and that you have always been the value, no matter what, right? And so yeah, that's what I wanted to say on that front. But the final point I want to say is why. Why do we need a monetary system in order to what is the purpose of it? And why can't we just use a gold standard or any other standard, or we just use another cryptocurrency? And my answer to you is that the purpose of all of money in the first place has always been about the upliftment of humanity, and for the opportunity for a higher standard of living and for a better life altogether. Why you look at something externally to ourselves when we realize that all we have to do is look inside of us and realize that we are the value, right? Moreover, if you take a look at it, most of the humanity, all of humanity, they are motivated by three things: love, self-interest, and fear. Fear is on the dark side, so that's not even an option. Love is something that comes from within. It's something that is inspired within you, and it cannot be forced. It cannot be affected, right? You cannot tell people to love thy neighbor. It has to be something that comes from within. But for most of human history, what has been reliable, right, on the positive side, where people are willing to help others and do something good for them, has always been their self-interest, and namely the profit motive. I mean, whether it has a positive connotation or negative connotation, it doesn't matter. Like, human self-interest and basically human nature has basically driven all of humanity ever since. I'm not here to change human nature, or not, neither are you. What we're trying to do is we're trying to redirect human nature and the need for a better life towards uplifting of humanity. And that's what we need to do, right? If we can redirect human nature, and money is the supreme form of self-interest, then all of a sudden, all of humanity will be creating a gold rush. They'll be having a gold rush. I swear they'll have a gold rush. But instead of like mining gold from gold ore, trying to get gold from all these gold mining places, they're going to be uplifting their fellow human beings by giving them the American dream instead. And through giving them the American dream, they're going to be rich instead, right? I mean, I can talk about the details, a little bit more about the details of the American Dream Standard in the next video, but this is all I have to say for now, right? If you like what I'm talking about and you want to know more, or if you support my work, or if you support our work, please subscribe to our channel, and I'll see you in the next video. All right, thank you, and bye for now.